Hello dear students, welcome. This is the time for learning one very fine story. Uh, the title of the story is The Selfish Giant. This story was written by Oscar Wilde. This is a children based story. In the story, the children are the main character, and there is also one selfish giant. In the story, let's get to know some background information of the writer. Oscar Wilde was an Irish poet, novelist, and playwright. He was one of the professional and literary parents. His father, Sir William Wilde, was an ear and eye surgeon. So he was from good family. By Oscar Wilde. Now, then in the story, the writer has presented a very interesting idea and interesting plot in the story. The Selfish Giant. Uh, The Selfish Giant is a short story for children written by Oscar Wilde. It was first published in the anthology The Happy Prince and Other Tales in 1888. This story is about a giant who learned an important lesson about love and sharing and holds different meanings for people of different age. So that is let's begins with the story. Especially there are three characters in the story. The selfish giant. Uh, there is a giant who was very selfish for his own nature. He always focused only for his happiness. And later on, he realized that uh, we should be happy in other happy situation as well. So then, in the story, there are school children who come to play Giant's Garden every day after their school. They come to Giant's Garden. So when Giant came to his garden after a long time, he knew that the children were playing there. Then he stopped the children play there. And then in the story, we see one little boy. The little boy came into the story with very surprise, who asked the giant to come to his garden. So at last, the little boy he took the giant in his garden, in the Garden of Paradise. So then the story finished there. Uh, Now, students, let's discuss the summary of this story in Nepali form. द सेल्फिस जाइन्ट भन्ने यो स्टोरी एउटा स्वार्थी राक्षस भन्ने स्टोरी ओस्कल वाइल्डद्वारा लेखिएको हो। उनी प्रख्यात आयरल्यान्डमा जन्मेर उनी लेखेका स्टोरी कथाकार हुन् उनी। र यो कथा विशेष गरेर बच्चाहरूसँग सम्बन्धित छ। एउटा राक्षस जुन निकै स्वार्थी हुन्छ, उसले आफ्नो आफ्नो खुसीको लागि चाहिँ अरूको खुसीलाई उसले अवरोध सिर्जना गर्छ। यहाँ यो स्टोरी एउटा गार्डनबाट स्टार्ट हुन्छ, सुरु हुन्छ। द स्टोरी बिगिन्स विथ द चिल्ड्रेन प्लेइङ इन द जायन्ट्स गार्डन एभ्री आफ्टरनुन आफ्टर अराइभिङ फ्रम द स्कुल। र यो कथाको सुरुमा विद्यार्थीहरू विद्यालय जाने केटाकेटीहरू चाहिँ विद्यालय पढेर आइसकेपछि उनीहरू सधैँ एउटा त्यो राक्षसको बगैँचामा आएर खेल्ने गरेका हुन्छन्। द गार्डन वाज ब्युटिफुल, लार्ज विथ सफ्ट ग्रास एन्ड फ्रुट ट्रिज। र त्यो गार्डनमा राम्रा राम्रा रुखहरू रहेका थिए अनि राम्रो घाँसहरू रहेको थियो, जहाँ विभिन्न किसिमका फलहरू दिने रुखहरू रहेका थिए। र केटाकेटीहरू स्कुलको समयपछि त्यहाँ आएर रमाएर खेल्ने गर्थे इन जायन्ट्स गार्डन। द ट्री बोर रिच फ्रुट्स एन्ड द बर्ड्स स्याङ स्विटली सिटिङ अन देम। र केटाकेटीहरू त्यहाँ खेल्दै गर्दा चराचुरुङ्गीहरूले मिठो गीत गाउने रुखका आँगामा बसेर अनि रुखहरू पनि चाहिँ उनीहरूले केटाकेटी खेलेको हेर्ने गर्ने गर्थे। विशेष त यो स्टोरी एउटा फेयरली टेलसँग सम्बन्धित छ, एउटा लोककथा दन्त्यकथासँग सम्बन्धित छ। वान डे आफ्टर 7 years, र एक दिन केटाकेटीहरू सधैँ त्यही गार्डनमा खेल्न जान्थे। र यसरी दिनहरू बित्दै जाँदै गर्दा एक दिन 7 वर्षपछि द जेन रिटर्न, ही वाज स्टेइङ विथ हिज फ्रेन्ड द कर्निस अग्री। द चिल्ड्रेन वर अफ्राइड टु सी हिम। र ऊ 7 वर्षपछि ऊ आफ्नो गार्डनमा फर्केर आयो। फर्केर आउँदा देख्यो कि आफ्नो गार्डनमा केटाकेटीहरू धेरै खेलेर रमाएर बसिरहेको देख्यो। ऊ लामो समयपछि आफ्नो गार्डनमा फर्केको थियो त्यो राक्षस। He saw the children playing and said that he would not allow anyone to play here as it was his own garden. जब ऊ त्यो गार्डनमा आयो अनि केटाकेटीहरू उसलाई देखेर डराएर भागे अनि उसले केटाकेटीहरूलाई यो गार्डनमा मैले खेल्न दिन्न भन्ने योजना बनायो। He built a wall around it and also put a bulletin board। र त्यो राक्षसले के गर्यो भने गार्डनमा चाहिँ एउटा चारैतिर गार्डनमा पर्खाल लगायो अनि पर्खाल लगाएर एउटा चाहिँ बुलेटिन बोर्डमा टाँस्यो, एउटा बोर्ड टाँसेर त्यहाँ लेख्यो, द बुलेटिन बोर्ड डिस्प्लेड अ वार्निङ इन्ट्रुडर्स विल बी प्रोसिक्युटेड, र यहाँ प्रवेश निषेध गरिएको छ, यहाँ प्रवेश मनाइ गरिएको छ भनेर बाहिरपट्टि त्यो गार्डनको बाहिरपट्टि उसले एउटा बुलेटिन बोर्ड राख्यो। द चिल्ड्रेन वेयर स्याड बिकज दे ह्याड नो अदर प्लेस टु प्ले। अनि जब राक्षसले सबैतिर पर्खाल लगाएर चाहिँ बाहिर प्रवेश निषेध भनेर लेख्यो, केटाकेटीहरू निकै दुखित भयो किनभने उनीहरूको लागि खेल्ने ठाउँ थिएन। दे वुड वन्डर द हाई गार्डन वाल्स एन्ड रिमेम्बर द ब्युटिफुल गार्डन विदिन देम, र उनीहरू यताउता हिँड्ने गर्थे अनि उनीहरू त्यही पहिला खेल्ने गार्डन बगैँचा सम्झने गर्थे किनभने उनीहरू त्यहाँ खेल्न पाइरहेका थिएनन् र उनीहरूले खेल्नको लागि उपयुक्त ठाउँ पनि पाइरहेका थिएनन्। र यसरी समय बित्दै जाँदै गर्दा स्प्रिङ सिजन अराइभ्ड एन्ड देयर वर फ्लावर्स एन्ड लिटिल बर्ड्स एभ्रिवेयर, र वसन्त ऋतुको आगमनसँगै जताततै नयाँ पालुवाहरू नयाँ फुलहरू फुल्न सुरु गरे र सानसाना बच्चाहरू डुल्न सुरु गरे अनि चराहरूको गान र तानसँगै वातावरण निकै रमाइलो हुँदै गयो। बट इट वाज विन्टर इन द जायन्ट्स गार्डन एन्ड देयर वेयर फ्रस्ट एन्ड स्नो, तर बाहिरतिर स्प्रिङ सिजन चलिरहेको थियो भने तर त्यो राक्षसको बगैँचामा भने जाडोयामै चलिरहेको थियो, विन्टर सिजनमै चलिरहेको थियो, त्यहाँ तुषारो अनि कुहिरो हिउँ परिरहेको थियो। इन द एब्सेन्स अफ द चिल्ड्रेन द बर्ड्स डिड नट सिङ आइदर। Once the flower sprouted from the grass, but after seeing the bulletin board, he also fell asleep. र केटाकेटीहरूको अनुपस्थितिले गर्दा त्यहाँ कुनै चराहरूले पनि त्यो बगैँचामा गीत गाउन बन्द गरे र एकपल्ट एउटा फुल पनि बिस्तारै फक्रिँदै थियो। उसले देख्यो कि नदीकै साइनबोर्डमा चाहिँ यहाँ प्रवेश निषेध गरिएको छ भनेर लेखेको कारणले गर्दा त्यो फुल नफुलेर ऊ भित्र लुकेर बस्यो। देन केम द नर्थ विन्ड एन्ड द हेलस्टर्म। त्यसपछि त्यो जैनको राक्षसको गार्डनमा चाहिँ असिना पानी अनि हावाहुरी एकदम चिसो बतासहरू चल्न सुरु गर्यो र त्यहाँ विन्टरै कायम रहिरहेको थियो। ड्यू टु द जायन्ट सेल्फिशनेस द गोल्डन फ्रुट्स अफ अटम अल्सो डिड नट रिच हिज गार्डन। र तर त्यो राक्षसको स्वार्थीपनले गर्दा त्यो बगैँचामा चाहिँ अटम सिजन र बगैँचामा बिरुवाहरूले फल दिने, बिरुवाहरू चाहिँ फक्रने, फुलहरू फुल्ने, चराहरूले गीत गाउने त्यस्तो सबै बन्द भएको थियो। Then one morning the giant detected sweet and wonderful music। र एक दिन बिहान राक्षस आफ्नो गार्डनको क्यासलमा बसिरहेको थियो र उसले चाहिँ एउटा मिठो र एकदमै राम्रो आवाज, सङ्गीतको आवाज उसले सुन्यो। इट वाज अ स्क्विरल सिङ्गिङ आउटसाइड हिज विन्डो। र उसले देख्यो कि त्यहाँ स्क्विरल लोखर्केले चाहिँ बाहिर गीत गाइरहेको थियो। द हिल एन्ड द नर्थ विन्ड स्टप एन्ड ही कुड फिल स्प्रिङ। र अनि त्यसपछि हिउँ हावाहरू एकछिन रोकियो। उसले चाहिँ देख्न सक्यो कि स्प्रिङ सिजनहरू बाहिर चलिरहेको थियो, बाहिर स्प्रिङ सिजन भइरहेको थियो, तर सेल्फिस जायन्टको बगैँचामा चाहिँ विन्टर सिजन कायमै थियो। ही सॉ द चिल्ड्रेन इन्टरिङ हिज गार्डन थ्रु अ स्मल होल। र त्यो राक्षसले देख्यो कि उसको बगैँचामा केटाकेटीहरू सानो साँघुरो ठाउँबाट उनीहरू बिस्तारै भित्र आएर खेल्ने जमर्को गरिरहेका थिए। द चिल्ड्रेन वेयर सिटिङ on the tree branches and the trees were blooming। केटाकेटीहरू भित्र आएर रुखको हाँगामा बस्दै गर्दा बिस्तारै रुखको हाँगामा भएका फुलहरू फक्रिन सुरु गरे अनि त्यहाँ एक किसिमको नयाँ वातावरण सुरु भयो जब केटाकेटीहरू प्रवेश गरे। He also saw the birds flying and heard them chirp। अनि उसले देख्यो कि चराहरू उड्न सुरु गरे अनि उनीहरूको गान र तानको आवाज आउन सुरु गर्यो। The flowers had also risen। र फुल पनि फक्रिन सुरु गर्यो। But to his surprise, winter was still in one corner। अनि उसले देख्यो कि एउटा त्यही गार्डनको एउटा कुनामा चाहिँ जहाँ केटाकेटीहरू प्रवेश गरेका थिए त्यो कुनामा चाहिँ स्प्रिङ सिजन चलेको थियो भने आफू बसेको ठाउँनेर चाहिँ आफू अर्को कुनामा चाहिँ विन्टर सिजन रहिरहेको थियो। He saw that a boy was standing there and he could not reach the branches of the tree। अनि उसले देख्यो कि एउटा सानो बच्चा चाहिँ रुखको हाँगामा चढ्ने प्रयास गरिरहेको थियो तर ऊ माथि सकिरहेको थिएन चढ्न। उसले देख्यो द ट्री लोड इट्स ब्रान्चेस बट स्टिल इट कुड नट क्लाइम इट। अनि उसलाई माथि ल्याउन भनेर रुखको हाँगा पनि बिस्तारै तल निहुरिरहेको थियो, उसलाई माथि ल्याउन खोजिरहेको थियो त्यो ट्रीले, तर त्यो सानो लिटिल बोय चाहिँ माथि चढ्न सकिरहेको थिएन। इन दिस सेन्स हिज हार्ट मेल्टेड। ही रियलाइज दैट ही वाज एक्चुअली भेरी सेल्फिश। अनि उसले त्यो बच्चा हेर्दै गर्दा उसले आफैले आफैलाई महसुस गर्यो कि ऊ आफू स्वार्थी रहेको र त्यो बच्चा माथि चढ्न नसकेको देखेर उसको मुटु पग्लेर आयो. He decided to put that boy on the top of the tree, tear down the walls, and allow the children to play here forever. त्यसपछि उसले त्यो सानो बच्चालाई चाहिँ समातेर रुखमाथि राखिदियो अनि उसले लगाएको पर्खाल चाहिँ सबै भत्काएर छोड्यो अनि केटाकेटीहरूलाई सधैँ त्यहाँ खेल्नको लागि अनुमति दियो त्यो राक्षसले. But when the children saw it, they fled and the garden was winter again. उसले पर्खाल भत्काउन लागिरहेको थियो जब राक्षसलाई देखेर केटाकेटीहरू भागे अनि पछि बुझे कि राक्षसले उनीहरूलाई खेल्न अनुमति दिएको रहेछ. However, that child did not run away while crying. The giant put it on the top of the tree and tree immediately blooms. के छ भने जब बच्चाहरू त्यो गार्डनमा खेल्न भनेर आए अकस्मात रुखको वातावरण बदलियो, फ्लावरहरू फक्रिन सुरु गरे, चराहरू यताउता उड्न सुरु गरे र उनीहरूको गान र तानको आवाज सुन्न सुरु गर्यो. He kissed the giant. The other children came back to the realize that the giant is not evil. अनि जब उसले सानो बच्चालाई समातेर रुखमाथि राखिदियो अनि त्यो बच्चा निकै खुसी भई उसले चाहिँ राक्षसलाई चाहिँ माया गर्यो. अनि अन्य केटाकेटीले देखे कि राक्षसले उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ गाली गरेको रहेनछ त, उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यही बगैँचामा खेल्न आऊ भनेर स्वागत गरेको उनीहरूले बुझे. स्प्रिङ रिटर्न विथ देम. जब केटाकेटीको प्रवेश भयो गार्डनमा अनि केटाकेटीको प्रवेशसँगै त्यहाँ स्प्रिङले पनि प्रवेश गर्यो त्यो गार्डनमा. The giant used to play with the children every afternoon, but the child was nowhere to be found. अनि त्यसपछि त्यो राक्षसले बुझ्यो कि केटाकेटीहरूको खुसी नै वास्तवमा सर्वोत्तम खुसी रहेछ. केटाकेटीहरूको खुसी नै ले गर्दाखेरि त्यहाँ स्प्रिङ सिजन आएको रहेछ र यहाँ ऊ केटाकेटीहरूको खुसीलाई रोकेको कारणले गर्दा त्यहाँ विन्टर सिजन कायम रहेको भन्ने कुरा राक्षसले आफैले बुझ्यो र ऊ आफै निकै स्वार्थी रहेको भन्ने आभास ऊ आफैलाई भयो र उसले त्यही केटाकेटीहरूसँग दिनहुँ खेल्न सुरु गर्यो. त्यसरी खेल्ने क्रममा उसले जुन सानो बच्चा जसलाई उसले रुखमाथि चढ्न नसकेर अल्मलिरहेको थियो उसले रुखमाथि लैदिएको थियो त्यो बच्चाको बारेमा उनले त्यो केटाकेटीलाई सोध्यो तर उसले त्योभन्दा त्यसपछि त्यो बच्चालाई उसले देखेन. Over the years it became very weak. One winter morning he saw a beautiful tree with his white flowers in the corner. The branches of the tree were golden and the boy stood underneath. र यसरी समय बित्दै जाँदा राक्षस नै बिस्तारै बुढो हुँदै गयो, ऊ कमजोर हुँदै गयो र एक दिन बिहान विन्टर मर्निङ यसरी सिजनहरू परिवर्तन हुँदै गयो र एक दिन विन्टर सिजनको बिहान उसले देख्यो कि एउटा कर्नरमा चाहिँ रुखको हाँगाको फेदमा चाहिँ बिस्तारै रुखहरू चाहिँ फैलिँदै गइरहेका थिए र त्यसको रुखको फेदमा चाहिँ उसले त्यो बच्चालाई देख्यो जुन बच्चालाई उसले धेरै अगाडि चाहिँ समातेर रुखमाथि राखेको थियो. त्यो बच्चा कहाँ गयो भनेर खोजिरहेको थियो. त्यो राक्षसले त्यो बच्चालाई उसले रुखको तलपट्टि बसेको देख्यो. The boy was injured, which greatly angered the giant. अनि जब त्यो राक्षस त्यो बच्चा लिएर गयो अनि देख्यो कि बच्चा अलिकति घाइते भएको थियो, उसलाई चोटपट लागेको थियो. He told the boy that he would kill the man who had hurt him. अनि राक्षसले के भन्यो भने तिमीलाई कसले यस्तो गर्यो, कसरी तिम्रो यस्तो चोटपट लाग्यो भनेर राक्षसले त्यो बच्चालाई सोध्यो. अनि यो पनि भन्यो कि कसले तिमीलाई यस्तो गर्यो भन, मैले त्यसलाई मारिदिन्छु भनेर राक्षसले भन्यो. अनि the boy told him that these were the wounds of love. अनि उसले भन्यो यो घाउहरू मेरो मायाको घाउ हो, मायाको प्रतीक हो. The boy smiled and asked the giant to come to his garden. अनि बोयले राक्षसतिर हेरेर त्यो सानो केटाले चाहिँ राक्षसतिर हेरेर भन्यो कि हजुरले मलाई हजुरको गार्डनमा खेल्न भनेर दिनुभयो, अब हजुर मेरो गार्डनमा खेल्न जाउँ, मेरो गार्डन प्याराडाइज स्वर्गमा रहेको छ भनेर चाहिँ त्यो सानो बच्चाले राक्षसलाई भन्छ. अनि राक्षस उसकै साथमा जान्छ. Later the children found the dead giant under the tree covered with white flowers. र त्यसको भोलिपल्ट सबै केटाकेटीहरू खेल्न जाँदा उनीहरू देख्छन् कि जेन्ट एउटा व्हाइट फ्लावरहरूले फुलहरूले ढाकेको तलपट्टि एउटा लास उसको लास त्यहाँ भेटिन्छ. र यसरी यो स्टोरीमा चाहिँ एउटा स्वार्थी राक्षस उसले विद्यालयका बच्चाहरूप्रति गरेको व्यवहार र पछि ऊ आफू स्वार्थी रहेको भन्ने बुझेको अनि उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यहाँ आफ्नो बगैँचामा खेल्न दिएको भन्ने बारेमा हामीले यो कथाको चर्चा गर्यौं. Dear students, so in the story what we can see here, we do not be happy for our own self, but we should see happiness in others happiness also. अरूको खुसीमा पनि हामीले हाम्रो खुसी देख्नुपर्छ भन्ने सन्देश यो स्टोरीबाट हामीले लिन सक्छौं. So now dear students, let's go through the exercise here. That is beginning with understanding the text. Answer the following question. The question is that where did the children used to play? The children used to USCED there. The children used to play. The children used to play in the beautiful garden of the Jain during the afternoon of time after school. Then what did the snow and the frost do to the garden? The snow and the frost were the two agents who appeared in the giant's garden after the rude behavior of the giant against the children. The snow covered up the grass with her great white cloak, and the frost painted all the trees silver. They even invited the north wind to stay with them. And the next question is, what did the giant hear when he was lying awake in bed? The giant heard some lovely music of the little singing bird linnet. When he was lying awake in bed, he heard the music after a long time. And the next question, D, what do you think spring season never come to the giant's garden? I think the spring season even became and sad with the children. She became so angry and never come to the giant's garden to find the giant's rudeness and selfishness against the innocent children. How did the giant realize his mistake? The giant realized his mistake by experiencing unusual changes in his garden. He found out snow, frost, north wind, fog, etc. in his garden. He felt guilty himself for all those acts which he had done against the children. When the children reappeared in his garden, the garden once again bloomed with leaves and flowers. He even heard the chirping of birds in his garden. Thus, he realized his mistake in this way. Then the next reference to that context, read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow. How happy we were there, they said to each other. Where does there refer to? There refers to the giant's garden where children used to play after school. What does they refer to? They refer to uh, refers to the children who used to come and play in giant's garden after school. Why are they saying so? They are saying so because they are not allowed to play in the giant's garden anymore. The giant has chased them out of his garden, being furious. And the next one is, I have many beautiful flowers, they said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. Who is the speaker? The speaker is an old and feeble giant who keeps on watching the children at their place, sitting on his armchair. Who is he speaking to? He is speaking of himself, admiring his garden. Who are the children that the speaker is referring to? The children that the speaker is referring to are the small and innocent school children who enjoy a lot in the giant's garden. So now the next question, why is the speaker saying that the children are the most beautiful flowers of all? The speaker is saying that the children are the most beautiful flowers of all because he has experienced the presence of children in his garden. He has observed their simplicity and innocence. He believes that the children are the gift of beautiful nature and their presence has made the entire garden look so beautiful and bloom with different kinds of leaves and flowers. He makes the comparison here to value the children much because he knows the values of children in his garden than the flowers. And the next one is, when the little child smiled at the giant and said to him, you let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise. Shortly afterwards, the happy giant died. What is the coincidence of this event described in relation to this fairy tale? That is the question. Now the answer is, the next time the little child reappears in one of the garden's corner, the giant is quite old and feeble at that time. The children appear this time to favor the giant who once had favored him to play in his garden. The giant keeps on searching and waiting for the little child. He is in reality alive only to meet the enchanted little child. Finally, after the little child's words, he dies in very afternoon. So now the story makes a personification as one of the main figures of speech. Cite 3 examples of personification from the story. What is the significance of the seasons personified in the story? So here the writer has perfectly used a figure of speech. 3 examples of personification are snow, the frost, and the north wind. The significance of seasons personified in the story is that they are related to nature and play a very vital role in transforming the giant's garden with a unique force against bad deeds. This story can be read as a fairy tales where the children, the season, the tree corner of the garden, the snow, the wind, and the frost are all use symbolism. Interpret those symbols. Here I think the answer is that here the spring season symbolizes happiness, whereas the winter season symbolizes suffering. The tree symbolizes the identity of the child as a Christ. The corner of the garden symbolizes the sacred place of God from where redemption is possible. The snow, the wind, and the frost symbolize unique force against bad deeds. Now the next D number, which figure of speech is for winter, frost, snow, north wind, here lion, little child. Who is the little child compared to? Here in this history, we find the perfect use of personification, the right, the winter, frost, snow, north wind, hell, and the little boy have been wonderfully personified. Among these, winter, frost, and snow have been personified as feminine gender with unique forces. They have done their tasks against the giant's act. The north wind, hell, and little child have been personified as masculine gender with powers. The little child is compared to the god. Uh, Here in the story, this little child has been presented with divine powers, who has the power to change each and every thing. Due to his presence, the garden has been bloomed with beautiful leaves and flowers. The sign of two nails on the palms and the feet of the little child had reminded us of the uh, Lord, of the Lord. Okay, we can get that. So reference given the text. What is the main theme of the story? The answer is that there are various themes here in this history, as arrogance, consequence of selfishness, love, and compassion. The concept of the salvation, etc. God deeds, good deeds are always rewarded, whereas bad deeds are always punished. Here we simply find the arrogance of the giant and his selfishness against the children, which have brought bad results for him. But due to his good deeds, he has got a fine platform to this outside. And the next one is, does God punish those who are cruel to children and very selfish? Yes, God punishes those who are cruel to and very selfish. Children are supposed to be very innocent and babies of God. They are known for their simplicity. Their presence is the sign of good omen. Okay, we can get a fine example from this history about God's punishment to the giant. He feels guilty himself for his deeds. Now, dear students, I think we have discussed lots of things about this. I hope you got the concept. If you have any confusion regarding this, uh, please ask me and comment me. And finally, that is subscribe my channel, Versatile Learning Network, like and comment. Hope to meet you in our next class.